So joining us right now on the line, I believe we have him, is Hogan Gidley, the National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign. Hogan, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Hogan?
I'm doing really well. Thanks so much for having me on, y'all. I always appreciate the time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Appreciate it, Hogan. Okay, so obviously we're going to get into the debate tonight, what you can expect from Mike Pence and what you think you would expect from Kamala Harris. But before we do that, can you talk a little bit about, obviously Trump being positive for the virus? How is it going to affect the campaign? When do you expect him back out there talking to people? And do you, Joe Biden just said, if Trump is still positive, I'm not going to do this debate. Can you comment on that?
Sure. Look, the president wants to be out there now. I mean, he didn't even want to go to the hospital, as you know, and then he said, I probably should go. It's a good protective measure for the people of the United States, and also, to make sure that I get well and I get well quickly. He's always looking to be out on the campaign trail, always looking to talk directly to the American people. But he was obviously attacked by COVID, and one of the things his doctors wanted to make sure of was that he had the best care, which he always does. And so, going to Walter Reed. He cut a few videos inside the hospital saying, look, I've learned a lot about the virus. I've learned a lot about therapeutics, learning a lot of information from my doctors on how this whole thing works. And so he wants to be out there. He wants to be out there soon. But obviously the medical experts, the doctors are going to dictate kind of the timeline of when that actually occurs. Right now, we are pushing ahead and preparing for that debate on October 15th in Miami. Mm-hmm. And if something changes, then, we'll make different arrangements. But right now, it's full go over here.
Yeah, Hogan, listen, I agree with everything you just said. And with that being said, I understand you have a difficult job and you're very good at what you do and you're trying to get Donald Trump reelected. I totally respect that and I understand that. But with that being said, you just said, Donald Trump said, well, listen, I know so much more about this virus now. The following day, he goes on Twitter and he tweets out, do not fear the virus. Do not let it dominate your life. And then he compares it to the flu, saying it's no worse than the flu. Since then, Twitter has taken that down because it's not factually accurate. Coronavirus has killed more people than the flu has in the last 5 years. I understand it's difficult for you to criticize the man who you work for, but can we just agree on that premise? The coronavirus is not the flu, and that's why Twitter took it down.
No, what the president was talking about clearly was the fact that this virus is something that was unforeseen. It was unprecedented. It came from China. They lied to the world about its impact. They lied to the world about its import. And, early on, this president made significant moves to prevent spread in this country. But it's an airborne virus, something that no one's ever seen before. So undoubtedly, it made its way around the globe very quickly.
I agree.
Right. Absolutely. And as we learn more and more about the virus, and as we learn how to treat it and stop it in its tracks with the Project Warp Speed, putting therapeutics, online and a vaccine close, you can't go back and shut down the country. We have to continue on with our lives in a way that lives with the virus in a safe, understandably.
Hogan, I get what you're saying.
Protective way.
Hogan, I understand.
Forward, and that's what he was talking
Hogan,
about.
Right. I understand, Hogan.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interject. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm trying to be specific with his tweet because, Hogan, I think this is important, and then we can move on. He's comparing it. He's saying it's no worse than the flu. Hogan, you're a very smart guy. You know that's not true.
Do you have the tweet in front of you?
I read it verbatim. I mean, he compared it to the flu.
I'd like for you to read it verbatim.
Okay, so why did Twitter take it down then? Why did Twitter take it down?
Oh my! Don't even get me started on why Twitter takks stuff down that this president or any Republican puts up.
They've been censoring for a while
via shadow banning all the time. Let's take a look. If you have it up, I'd like for you to read it.
He did. They removed the post. They falsely saying the flu is no more lethal. I mean, that's what he said.
And Brian, there was actually an article that came out according to the World Health Organization that they think that 750 million people have actually been infected with this virus. And if that's the case, then considering how many have died, then the mortality rate is actually nearly close to the flu because the flu is 0.1%. So.
Right, and I'm looking at the tweet now, and I want to make sure I get this right here because no, we've learned to live with it, just like we're learning to live with COVID. We have learned to live with it, the flu, just like we're learning to live with COVID. And most populations far less lethal. He's talking about with children, and with a 99% survival rate from anywhere from age 0 to age 60. he's absolutely correct. So to try and castigate the entire tweet and frame it in a way that says he's saying it's no worse than the flu, that's not what he's saying. These are two different viruses. He's talked about this many times now, but the media just can't help themselves. I understand. They don't like him. They hate, they don't like Joe Biden. They just hate Donald Trump. I get the difference. But the president has been very clear on this, and we can't go back into lockdowns, which is what Joe Biden has said many times he wants to do. The fallout from locking down this country is, by most experts' prognostications, is going to be much worse, because now you're dealing with malnutrition for children, educational problems with children, a spike in anxiety, a spike in suicides, a spike in all of the mental issues that have gone along with this virus. We're seeing now a rise in domestic abuse, child abuse as well. This is going to ripple through our society and through this country in ways we haven't even come up with yet for years, past the fact that it hurts people medically.
All right, fair enough.
Bad enough.
I just want to add. I just want to add this.
What he was saying was, we have to take this head on. We're the greatest country in the history of the world. We're the greatest country on the face of the planet, and we can get through this together. That's clearly what the president was saying.
Okay, if that's all he said, Twitter would not have taken it down. And by the way, Twitter did say he broke the company's rule on spreading misleading information related to COVID-19. That's not me saying that. That's not the media saying that. That's the company, Twitter.
That's Jack Dorsey. Wow.
Okay, well, that's what Twitter said.
Yeah, Brian, Twitter has censored a lot of conservative posts.
So listen,
not just Donald Trump.
Hogan, we don't have a lot of time with you. I do want to get to the vice presidential debate, but I have to ask you one more COVID question, if I may. Why can't anybody in the White House administration say, when was the last time Donald Trump tested negative? When was the last time he tested positive? Why do doctors refuse to give out those details? And if you're going to talk about HIPAA, the president can waive that at any moment. A patient can do that. These are important questions that I think the public deserves to know. When did the president have it? And why won't you guys answer that?
Well, first of all, I don't work at the White House, so I don't have that information in front of me. I do know the first time he tested positive was when he got back, I think, on late Thursday night. And I do appreciate these questions. They're really good. I wonder if anyone's going to ask the media about Joe Biden's health.
Has nothing to do with the question I just asked you. Nothing to do with the question.
Well, it has everything to do with the question, because what you're asking me is to comment on the president's health and well-being at this time. Joe Biden can't put two sentences together.
Okay, but that has nothing. Hogan, with all due respect,
the guy has serious problems.
Okay, first of all,
I have no problem taking the question. I'm saying let's ask the same question.
Joe Biden's not positive.
Side. Where are his medical records?
You want equal treatment on both sides.
No one asked that question.
Hogan, Joe Biden is not positive for the coronavirus. Donald Trump is. If Joe Biden was positive, I would be asking these same questions to Joe Biden.
You don't know. First of all, you don't know what Joe Biden's positive with. You don't know what he's negative.
So you don't believe the Biden you don't believe the people with Biden, but we should believe everybody in the Trump administration?
No, what I'm saying is no one's pressing Joe Biden on any of this. I'm fine to ask the questions to the president. The doctors have come out, given updates, read off his vital signs, talked about the president not having any respiratory issues, that there's no live virus they can find in his blood right now. That's all great news. And yes, the media want to know more. That's fine. They can ask the question. I'm just saying, let's ask them of both candidates and see where we end up at the end.
Joe Biden has released his medical records. Has he not?
I'm asking right now, what medications is he on? Does he have any issues we need to know about, cognitive or otherwise? I think those are fair questions to ask.
Joe Biden has released his medical records, though. I mean, I don't know. I'm confused.
When?
What do you mean? He has released his medical information.
He's tested negative for COVID, but he's talking about outside of COVID.
So what sickness are you talking about? What evidence do you have that? What do you mean he can't put sentences together?
I watch him. I've watched him. What do you mean, what evidence do I have? The same evidence everyone else has.
Hogan, I have a question about the economic stimulus package. We saw that Nancy Pelosi was unwilling to come to some type of a reasonable agreement. She had things like cashless bail and no voter ID and national ballot, harvesting of ballots nationwide. Do you think, and Donald Trump said he's going to walk away from the deal. I don't think he's going to. Do you think that he is going to pass an executive order that gives that $1,200 stimulus check, or that gives $135 billion in payment protection programs to small businesses? Because both of those groups of people, individuals and small businesses, they really need it, Hogan.
They absolutely do, and I don't know what the president's going to do here. I do know what Democrats have been doing, not just in my time in the White House, but right now. Nancy Pelosi tacked on all types of things to this piece of legislation, socialist wish list items that don't have anything to do with COVID, and you know that because these are the same things she was pushing for before the virus even hit this country.
Right.
She's done this before with DACA. I was in the White House when she, throws her arms in the air and kind of goes apoplectic just from hearing a briefing on how dangerous things are at the border, and then runs out to the podium and says she's never going to give a dime to border security and a dime to the wall, and then she ends up passing it and signing it the same exact dollar amount months later because she doesn't care about the American people. It's the politics that matters to Nancy Pelosi. Here, similarly, she doesn't want a check to come into people's bank accounts and the president take credit for it. She wants to be the one in power. She wants to be the one that prevents the president from having a win because of her own demented desire to gain back political power. It's not about politics for Donald Trump. He wants the American people who are struggling, by the way, to be able to put food on their tables and clothes on their kids' back. That's exactly what this has been about from day one with him. And you see where Nancy Pelosi is on it. She's not negotiating in good faith. And that's obvious.
Hogan, I think we have enough time for one more question, if that's okay. Let's talk about this vice presidential debate tonight, if that's all right. What do you expect from Mike Pence? What's the strategy? I don't expect you to give everything out like a football coach would want to give out all of his plays before a game. But what do you expect from Mike Pence tonight? What do you expect from Kamala Harris? Can you preview the debate for us?
Well, I believe that Mike Pence has been sitting next to the president. When Donald Trump has made some of the most significant decisions in this first term, trade deals that work for the American people, tax cuts, peace deals that no one thought possible, bringing hostages home, all things that, quite frankly, Joe Biden couldn't do or didn't do in his near half century in elected office. So he's uniquely positioned, Mike Pence, to talk about some of the successes of this and of how we tackled COVID out front in real time when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris still refused to shut down travel from China and from Europe, a move that the doctors say saved countless lives in this country. And I also think Mike Pence is going to do a great job pointing out Kamala Harris's incredibly liberal record. I mean, the most liberal voting record, even more so than Bernie Sanders. Her embrace of socialist agenda items, the Green New Deal, getting rid of cows and cars and all the nonsense, abolishing ICE, amnesty for illegal aliens, all the things that she wants to do, and now Joe Biden has also embraced as part of their radical leftist ticket. I think it's incumbent upon the vice president not just to talk about the record-setting successes of this administration and how President Trump has done more in 47 months for the American people's benefit than Joe Biden has done in 47 years, but also to point to the radical shift in that Democrat Party. And now at the top of the ticket, we have the most radical ticket in our nation's history. I think he's going to do a great job taking that message directly to the American people tonight.
Well, Hogan, I'm looking forward to it. And let me just say this. I wish you and everyone there safe, and everyone that does have the virus there, I hope everybody recovers, and I hope everybody is okay, including the president. I think it's a good thing for the country to make sure everybody stays safe. So I just wanted to say thoughts and prayers with everybody in the White House, and I hope that you remain safe out there, and we always appreciate it when you come on the show, Hogan. Thank you so much.
Same to y'all, guys. Be careful out there, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Hogan.
Thank you, Hogan. That is Hogan Gidley, the National Press Secretary for the Donald Trump campaign, previewing the vice presidential debate. We'll see if Mike Pence,